Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Weekly Comic Book Roundup. We've made our way most of the way through the roundup. Now it's time to wrap up this week's Marvel books. Kicking things off, we've got Daredevil and Echo number 3. Where we left off, the titular duo had tracked down a child to an abandoned church where Demogoblin appeared to be summoning said kid, and Ghost Rider then showed up. Which Ghost Rider? Not entirely clear. The bike kind of makes me think Catch, but everything going on with Ghost Rider makes me think Blaze. So yeah. Also, the look of Ghost Rider here makes me think more Catch than Blaze, but you know. And in the past, the ancestors of Creeping Death and Tommy Murdoch, ancestors of Echo and Daredevil, were trying to prevent the emergence of a demon into the world beneath the same church. So we begin with Tommy Murdoch, who has been convinced by Creeping Death to simply be the willing sacrifice. The only way to stop the blind one. The blind one seems to be crossing over, grabbing some of some of the priest's other followers. Aren't entirely happy about being grabbed by the demon. In the present, Ghost Rider basically talks shit to Daredevil and Echo. Daredevil attempts to tell Echo that they may have had ancestors that were involved in this previously, but they go through the catacombs underneath the church, find the missing children, including the little girl from earlier that unleashed a rather massive sonic attack on the two of them. Tommy's been stabbed in the heart, but before he dies, he stabs the priest in the heart, tosses the knife to Creeping Death, and also destroys the altar with a giant rock. As a bonus for Tommy, the priest is not yet dead and is leaning on the altar, so Tommy bashes in the priest's head too. In the present, Daredevil, Ghost Rider, Echo attempt to disrupt the ritual. Tommy, having destroyed the altar and killed the priest, begs forgiveness for his sins before dying. Daredevil manages to explain that perhaps this was kind of fated, and Creeping Death steps through the portal in the present, giving the necessary knife to Echo. But Matt has to be the sacrifice, and so he's now a willing sacrifice, and the issue ends with Echo stabbing him in the heart. The series is definitely getting interesting. I did fail to mention one part in the 1835 storyline. Creeping Death went through the portal in an effort with the knife in an effort to kill the blind one. So that's why she came out in the present. Moving on though to our next book, we've got Incredible Hulk number 2. Where we left off, Banner is basically trying to keep himself from hulking out, though a monster known as the Eldest has awakened all the other monsters. Banner, meanwhile, has developed a new traveling companion, a young girl named Charlie. A young girl who is frequently abused by her father. So the issue opens by focusing on a grave as something comes, as Sister Sadie, person buried at said grave, comes out of it. Charlie and Banner talk a bit. Banner's trying to get her to go home, leave him alone. She wants him to Hulk out. She wants to see the Hulk. But as they're walking and arguing, a zombie shuffles out of the woods. Doesn't try to eat them, but Bruce gets his attention and asks him what brings him out that way, and says that he's going home to Red Creek, going to see Sister Sadie and Brother Deep. Brother Deep's calling us home. That night, Bruce and Charlie are talking. And the way she kind of explains things is that the way Charlie kind of explains what's going on is that she, it makes Bruce think that Charlie's wanted to be Hulk's sidekick. But Charlie trips over her bag and her hair shifts enough so that Bruce can see the burn scars on her face. And he asks who did that to her, and she explains that it was at the home that he keeps telling her to run back to. And she further adds that she's here for the Hulk, not Banner. Hulk's the strongest thing she's ever seen. Being close to Hulk makes her feel strong. She lays down and says that, Banner saw she's a monster already. Well, she's allowed to want the awesome parts too. But she has a dream. Her father directing her to a church. While Banner has a dream where Hulk is caught up with him. They wake up with a start. A cop comes by and asks that they're camping. They plan on camping down there. But Bruce says they had some car trouble and were trying to get to the next town and the rain picked up. But the sheriff says he's supposed to be some nutcase burned a diner to the ground and a couple nights back, so he's supposed to bring in suspicious people. But Bruce and Charlie, they looked at the right sort to him, so so he's gonna get him someplace safe. Red Creek. Good God-fearing people there. Revival at Red Creek Baptist ain't to be missed. Sister Sadie speaks of the Eldest and Brother Deep to a congregation of zombies when the sheriff brings in Bruce and Charlie, saying that he's bringing them in to be the offering. Bruce is pushed up to the altar, stabbed in the heart. But Sister Sadie realizes something's wrong. Bruce Banner is the fractured one, the fractured son. And the issue ends with Hulk hulking out. It's definitely an interesting arc. Well, I didn't read Immortal Hulk, but the way it was discussed, it seemed as though it was a horror. It was by and large a horror comic, focused on the Hulk, and it's also made clear in Sister Sadie's sermon that the fractured one that they fear, the fractured son that they fear, is from the Green Door, or has come through the Green Door. And, well, yeah, but I like with Immortal Hulk, it was more body horror. This is a different type of horror, and honestly, this has me really wanting to go back and get, or at least see about getting the omnibus edition of Immortal Hulk and just pour through that. Also makes me wish I'd picked that. I started picking that when it first came out, but well, hindsight's 2020, right? Moving on though to our next book, we've got Ultimate Invasion #2. Where we left off, the maker, Reed Richards of Earth 1610, also known as the Ultimate Universe, had created a machine that allowed him to escape Earth 616. To where? Another Earth. Not Earth 1610, but rather 6160. After arriving there, he prevented a radioactive a spider that had been bathed in radiation from biting a 15-year-old high school student on the hand in New York. Yeah, he prevented the creation of Spider-Man. So the issue begins with the maker reflecting on the fact that Reed Richards of Earth 616 had basically said that when the maker asked if Reed would destroy him if he had it all to do all over again, would he? And Reed said that yes, he would. But of course, arriving on New Earth, well, lots of new possibilities. Placing Loki on the throne of Asgard, shattering the Bifrost, delaying a shuttle launch by hours, causing it to miss a cosmic storm. However, some things don't have to be. It doesn't need to affect. Regardless of his actions, mankind will still be slavish to its nature. There will be wars and weapons of war, and men who make such things, such as Howard Stark and Obadiah Stane. We also see Bruce Banner being what ends up turning Bruce Banner into the Hulk. However, in an Antarctic cave, or an Arctic cave, the maker did not find a man in the ice to murder. The maker reflects on his past some. Howard Stark is Iron Man. Obadiah is his closest friend, and yes, of course, Tony is there as well, but younger. Tony and Obadiah are talking a bit. They have there's a function they have to attend in Latveria. Upon their arrival is applauded. I'll admit, I think that Brian Hitch has a tendency to draw characters looking like celebrities. It does kind of look like one of the reporters on Latveria does bear some of a resemblance to Matt Damon, I will admit. The Hulk is the leader of a is a guru type. Then the three lords of the consolidation of the three Pacific clans are represented by Silver Samurai, Sunfire, and Viper. Then we have the leaders of Russia's leaders, Pyotr and Ilyana Rasputin, as well as Arkady Rosovich, Colossus, Magic, and Omega Red. And of course, there's the Maker. A portal opens in the sky, and an army of superhumans pours out of it. Giant Mans, Captains America, Thors, Wasps, Visions, pressing the attack. Obadiah suits up as War Machine, goes into the fray. However, one of the Visions disrupts his armor and presumably also his heart, killing him, leading to his death. Howard wakes up in a cell with the Maker. They are apparently being held by the surviving members of the Army of Heroes. But the Maker then brings in as his guards bring in a handful of people. I guess the army is the Maker's prisoners actually then, and has the handful of people executed, causing every member of the invading army to cease to exist. Well, at least cease to exist as people. It seems that these were the Maker had their ancestors killed. And Howard says, someone just did that to you, right? Find you in your crib and kill you. And the Maker states that they could, but I'm not from the. But no, they couldn't. I wasn't. Could be because I wasn't born on this earth, even in this universe. But apparently, he shows off the Immortus engine, a time machine. And Howard notes that the Maker annihilated the future, destroyed their past, but this won't be the end of it. It's just the beginning, though the Maker says this was his second encounter. The first was weeks ago as he removes his helmet and reveals a large portion of his upper skull missing. But the Maker adds that his body is not like Howard's, and he, for self-preservation's sake, he chose to separate and redistribute his brain and vital organs long ago. That said, the Maker thinks that the one who built the Immortus engine is Howard Stark. That is where the issue ends. Interesting. While I was kind of hoping that perhaps this would see the return of the Ultimate Universe and maybe a reboot of Earth 6160, I don't mind the idea of this being a different Earth than Earth 6160. Or than Earth 1610, I mean. So, anyways, moving on to our last one for the moment, we have What If? Dark Spider-Gwen. So, one of the most well-known moments in Spider-Man's history is the death of Gwen Stacy. The Green Goblin, knowing that Peter Parker was Spider-Man and that Peter Parker was dating Gwen Stacy, took Gwen prisoner, took her to the top of the George Washington Bridge and eventually threw her off the bridge. Spider-Man attempted to save her by shooting a web line around her ankle, but snapped her neck, leading to her death. And then Peter, of course, went after Green Goblin, and Gobby was killed was seemingly killed by his own Goblin Glider. We get some reprinted pages from that. Gwen, leading up to Gwen being thrown off the bridge. However, rather than shooting a web line down, Peter swings down, catches her, and shoots a web line to grab onto the bridge. However, the line is cut by Norman's Goblin Glider, and they both fall into the river. Peter hits his head. Gwen comes out of the water and sees Spider-Man dead, pulling his mask off to reveal her boyfriend under it. And realizing as Peter kept the secret of his identity as Spider-Man from her, probably kept it from everyone else, and so she blames Peter's death on the Green Goblin. Gwen was there to comfort Aunt May. Flash Thompson voices shock that Puny Parker would be willing to do such a thing for anyone. Mary Jane Watson suggests perhaps her and Gwen could get together for coffee, but Gwen kind of just wants to be alone. She goes back to Peter and Norman Osborn, or Harry Osborn's apartment, with Gwen explaining that she really just kind of wants to spend some time alone in Peter's room. And Harry is happy to let her do so. She digs out all of his Spider-Man gear, takes it, goes home, puts it all on, but isn't sure what to do from there. She's figured out how the web shooters work, but before she just opts to swing on them, she thinks twice, and what she plans to do, she can't do alone. She tells Harry that Peter was Spider-Man, and that the Goblin knew that Spider-Man was Peter. She gets some help in trying to figure. Her and Harry make a plan. MJ brings by some theater department stuff that's about to get thrown out. Works on some tech, and also digs out her father's old service pistol, her late father's service pistol. Using some of Peter's webbing, she puts a note on the bridge where Peter died, saying, "Still alive. I'll be waiting at 940 West 52nd Street." Goblin flies right into the trap. Gwen, wearing her Spider-Man outfit, having made some modifications, brings up her father's gun, but can't shoot him. Drops it. Takes off her mask to reveal herself to the Goblin. And the Goblin is then shot in the chest by Harry, who pulls off the Goblin's mask, revealing the Goblin to be Harry's father, Norman. Harry snaps and blames Gwen for this. Gwen runs, drops the gun in the river. Harry discovers his father's Goblin cache. MJ and Gwen get together for that cup of coffee, and Harry becomes the Green Goblin. and Gwen swings in to stop the Green Goblin as Spider-Woman. And that is where the issue ends. Interesting take. That makes at least two worlds where Gwen Stacy's a superhero and Peter Parker is dead. And one of the few worlds where that's not the case is the Heroes Reborn reality. Though technically Peter did die during that, so yeah. Anyways, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Shout out to Patreon patrons Dan and Lee. Thank you so much for your support. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Mastodon, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off saying, live long and rock hard.